this?
Yes.
Do we need anything else?
No. Here's the mansion, somewhere over here. Sure.
Seems like a little bit? Yeah. Okay, anyway. Thank you. Yeah, I know.
No, you're even through dead scrub. It's somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
Dead scrub.
Yeah, like this. We drive about 2 times a week.
You see the wave came in? Is that the way we came in?
Yeah.
Actually, I couldn't appreciate it.
This is the graveyard fumes and all this in front of the mansion. And this is walking right in front of Michelle as she's photographing. This is down the Isle of Oaks, I guess you'd call it.
Hour at
29.
5:29. Rush hour. People leaving Charleston. We're going over a humongous tall bridge.
Yeah, you gotta look out the back.
I'm going to zoom past Billy here.
Hi.
Hi, Bill. And there we have a bridge that we just came over.
Halfway.
We're at halfway point. Traffic is non-stop. Let me zoom back to Bill. Hi, Bill.
Right. Actually, we're going into Charleston.
We're going in. Everybody else is leaving it. Oh, there's a bridge next door to us. Well, we have major stoppage here.
The left is the city of Charleston.
I can get it.
Let me show you something. You're still recording.
How so?
Hit that button again, you'll see pause comes on.
Okay. So I don't have to hold my finger there.
Right.
So I hope I got Charleston. Or the plantation. That's all of Charleston across right there. But as you can see, the traffic is just a little bit heavy. On a Wednesday evening, we're driving into the resort.
You can't see Jack.
You can't see squat, but I keep on trying to visualize on getting all the trees, the homes with their lights lit up, and I am freezing my butt off.
This is a townhouse. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I gotta zoom out. Just trying to focus in to a zoom out. This is the living room. The TV, we spend a lot of time watching that. And I win. But I just got Michelle in her skimpy outfit. There she is. She's hiding. She's down underneath the pantry. And she's putting some clothes on. This is the townhouse. It's kind of tough to spot it. I'll turn on some lights and it's going to flash like crazy, I'm sure. Yeah. This is the kitchen we had for our townhouse, man. I'm sure you're real interested in that. And whoa, and there's a thong. Let's cut you in the thong shit. I have a tripod that we're set for sex later on.
You're not like the fancy move. You're moving it around.
I know. Okay. Well, I'll leave Michelle to the TV here. I'm going back to the rest of the townhouse. That's still the kitchen here.
Ah, good morning. Okay, put it away. Bye. I'm going out to watch the dolphins.
This is our townhouse for the week. Telescope, of course. TV, of course. Kitchen, dining, living room. We trashed last night. Michelle was trashed.
You want to show them the goosebumps? Yes, I have goosebumps.
What the hell's backup mean? There's the kitchen. Stock full of beer and freezers. Half bath in there. Nice, huh? The bedroom. Scene of all the passion of the weekend. And a full bath in there. Yeah, there's the toilet there, yeah. I'm opening these shades so you can see outside the front. There's not much out there. He's hunting for some fish, and he's going to take a crash dive as soon as he sees it.
Something I'd like to learn from him.
What a pelican does, a brown pelican. Expert fishers.
And he's searching and he's searching.
What they're doing is they're flying over the ocean, hunting for a school of fish. When they spot one, he's still searching. I'm losing focus for some reason. Get up.
Try human. This one's skimming. Who's searching?
We're trying this guy.
He's going
He'll
for
circle around towards us.
I think he's going to go for the girl in the bikini.
Ooh, where is she?
No, keep your eyes.
Bikini.
No, keep.
I'm gonna dive. He's looking. He's turned. Some pelicans.
Someone's up to the water bill. Oh, one just did it right in front of us here.
They have a fleet of brown pelicans again.
They're probably following the school of fish. So how about the two? No, they're two inland.
This is what everybody wants, an hour of pelicans flying overhead. We're trying to catch one dive bombing for Vivian and Tom.
The one to the right, possibly.
To the right. Oh. They're hunting for a school still.
He's a loner. He prefers to eat alone.
Wow. Beach scene, you're not supposed to be doing your hair, but I'll bet. Yeah, she's doing makeup. On a beach scene, you're not supposed to be doing makeup.
Cheers.
That wasn't playing. There, she's doing eye makeup. Yeah. For the beach scene. Good butt, huh?
Hey.
Hey. Well, let's walk back out to the living room. Music playing. There's an excellent bikini right over here. But we're a little bit far away. We'll zoom back to the panorama. There's a beached whale down there. The pelican. Dive bombing. It's for you, Vivian.
They know they're on camera, so that's why they're not cooperating. Oh, I think Sue's on her way out of Seabrook.
And we're going to pull over and let a car pass us.
I don't. Speed limit is 25 through here, and we have been warned many a time, please do not exceed the speed limit. They are very harsh. It might feed it to the alligators, I don't know. But they have been known to stay within the mileage here. You see many bikers around here. The trees are spectacular. If I can get some of these homes.
There you go.
To the left, to the right?
To the right.
To the right. Here we go. This is just an old shack. It's probably worth $1 million.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock on my side?
Yep.
There we go. There's that one real nice house, Bill.
I got a spot, this might be a home run. Here it is.
To the right?
Not quite right. Left. No,
Wow.
right there.
Okay. Easily $1 million home.
Easily.
Piece of cake.
That's enough. You hit your camera. Where'd your camera go?
Here.
I was in a hurry.
I got you.
Charleston. This is Michelle with the big butt. Yep. There, we're zooming in on that butt. Oh, the scenes. This is old Charleston.
In the middle of the road picking one up, and then when they read horse urine marker, they tend to, throw it down real quick, so it's kind of funny. I'm going to start off the tour with a little geography and history of Charleston. Y'all hear me okay? Two rivers were named after just one man, Lord Anthony Ashley Cooper. He was the Earl of Shaftesbury in England, and he was the leader of 8 lords proprietors that were given this land called Carolina in 6 lords. It's not bad. When we go by this Peach building, I want you to look down the side and see how badly buckled and bowed it is. That's from an earthquake that hit here. I'll tell you about that a little bit later. This is the Elliott House Inn. It's a bed and breakfast now. You see those pineapples up there? Whoa. That's left. Whichever marker you had on the building, that company would come and put out the fire. 1 years after the end of the Civil War, Charleston, as well as the rest of the South, was still a pretty impoverished place. They couldn't afford just to tear it down and start all over again. About 90% of the building was damaged. Those crosses and those buttons and those rectangles there, those are called earthquake bolts, and they're attached to rods that run the length and sometimes the width of a lot of these homes. And in the center, they're attached with a turnbuckle. Instead of tearing the homes back together, they simply cranked them back together. That was much more practical than tearing down and starting all over again. Now, I've heard if another earthquake ever hits here, the buildings will just collapse because they didn't leave any leverage or giveaway. We sit on the second most active earthquake fault in North America, by the way. I always like to throw that in. The first one is the San Andreas in California. We sit on the Woodstock fault. And you don't know how often a major earthquake should hit an area that sits on an active fault? Once every 100 years. So we're 6 years overdue. But don't worry, if an earthquake hits during the tour, we'll continue. You'll get that ticket worth plus the $30. I'll have to adapt a little bit, but I always try to do best for the good folks from New York. No, but we get slight tremors here every month. They're just so slight you can't feel them on one of those, what's it called, a seismograph?
Yeah,
I've heard that there'll never be another one here. Look at that door. That's a false door that leads onto the porch. Here in Charleston, that's the most important thing called a porch, called a piazza. Back up to the thing. If you're ever here in the middle of July and you don't have air conditioning, you'll understand the practicality of that a whole lot better.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if you build your home before plumbing? See the Peach building to the side there? See the pipes coming down the side? Look at the stone in the front. Well, that's not stone. We don't have stone around here in the low country of South Carolina. It's not indigenous to this area. That's actually brick in the front. It's been stuccoed over. And when the stucco's wet, they score it. They put lines in it to make it look like stone. Now, that serves 2 purposes. One, you want to look a little different from the Joneses next door. Obviously it's cosmetic. But it also served a real practical job. A lot of the bricks were made up on the plantations, and they would protect it from the weather and whatnot. You can see the stucco coming off right now. But once again, we don't have any stone around here. Those columns are made out of Portland stone brought over from England. Now, this is owned. Look at the carriage stoop out here. Well, he was caught, and they realized how serious that could have been, so they installed the chevaux de frise there for protection. Now, this is Italian villa style of architecture on the right. It's a beautiful home, finished in the mid-1800s, and it's known locally as O'Donnell's Folly because the guy that built it, Patrick O'Donnell, was going to build it for his bride-to-be, but he took too damn long in building it. She up and married another guy. It's a true story. Now, I don't know sea level. We might be maybe 5 feet above sea level here. Look how the basements are built above the ground. That's in the English tradition.
That's through this way.
Right. A lot of the basements are up above ground, so they don't flood out. Now, I always like to point to this crepe myrtle tree. That's a crepe myrtle right there. That looks like it's got any. No, that's not. It's crepe myrtle right up here. I'm sorry. I thought that was. So crepe myrtle looks like it's had the bark taken off.
Yeah.
The first time I've worked here for a year, and the first time I hit anything, you know, hot air rises. Well, hot air would rise up into that in the old days. They would open those windows up to allow the hot air to escape. Then they would open up these lower windows, and it would create a draft or a current through the home, and it was like an early form of air conditioning. Now, we're talking about that fellow Donald Spalley and all, you know, the house back up there. This one right here, the blue one, was built by a confirmed bachelor. The fellow said he would never be married. He died a bachelor. Swore that he would never be cornered by a woman, and he wasn't. Tradition has it the reason he wasn't, most of the rooms inside that house don't have corners. They're rounded out, made out of that black cypress wood.
Ooh.
Did y'all see The North and the South TV miniseries?
Yep.
Patrick Swayze filmed the love scene in there. How close are y'all to your neighbors? Look right here, they almost touch. If that's not close enough for you, the next two do touch.
Whoa.
Now, if you look over to the right, these trees over here, you'll see them down on the Seabrook. They're called live oak trees. They're called live oak because they stay green all year round. They just lose their leaves, keep getting moving. See the Spanish moss coming out of them? Used to be a lot of Spanish moss down here, but Hugo blew them all out. Now, I've heard that like 3 out of 5 trees, don't hold me to that, about 3 out of 5 trees got blown down during Hurricane Hugo. How did these stay up? Because obviously we're at for a couple nights out of the week. It's known as the number 2 Meeting Street Inn. It's a bed and breakfast. And as we go by, not the first window, but the second. If you look to the left and the right, you'll see stained glass windows installed by Tiffany himself, and they're priceless. Now, this home was finished in 1892, and a good example of Queen Anne Victorian style of architecture was popular at that time with Queen Victoria. It looks pretty good now. If you like that glass, look over here to the window. A fella threw a brick through one, and they had to send the mate back to Europe to get it recreated. Those lanterns are in the Gothic style. You know how to tell if something's Gothic? Generally, you don't want to sit on it.
We're not even classified with
Who?
Rockefeller.
Rhett Butler. Rhett Butler, too. Now, Rockefeller may have done that, but Rhett Butler also did that. And a lot of people think that this guy might have been the model to Rhett. Doors there are made out of solid walnut. They weigh about 200 pounds apiece. Look at the stone building over on the left. Well, once again, we don't have any stone around here. That's wood that's been carved, beveled to make it look like stone. Watch out. If you look down the side, see, I guess they just got tired of fiddling with it. Now, that's the way George Washington's home, Mount Vernon's done up in Virginia. It's done the same way. How are you, ma'am? You see this brick home on the left? Y'all heard of so the illiterate shipman would know where to bring the goods, like go to the yellow house, go to the pink house. That's a fallacy. Don't believe that. They were painted these light colors of the West Indies influence, kept the homes about 4 or 5 degrees cooler in the summertime. The yard out here is kind of unusual because the garden's in the front as opposed to the back in the English tradition. Have you heard of indigo blue? Indigo was a big money maker before the Revolutionary War here. Those are indigo blue shutters up there used as a dye. Now, I was telling you about Charleston's most predominant style of architecture, Charleston's single house. You know what the second most predominant style is? Double house. Double house coming up on the left. It's known locally as the bosom home for obvious reasons. It's also known as that because this was the headquarters of General Pierre Beauregard, the great Confederate general who designed the harbor defense out here. And it's known as the bosom house because he was a notorious womanizer. And apparently he had a bunch of affairs in that house, and all the women in Charleston loved him. He was from Louisiana. He was a Cajun down there, and you get your tickets up here in this little building right here. And the reason I point this out, this was built by Nathaniel Russell in 1808. Nathaniel Russell was known as the King of the Yankees because he was a wealthy merchant from Rhode Island. He retired here in Charleston. Now they go to Hilton Head, I guess, but it's just a joke. Look at his initials up there in the ironwork. See the NR?
Oh, yeah.
Now, what's neat about this home, it has 3 floors, and all 3 floors are laid out in the same pattern. They've got a rectangular room, a square room, and an oval room on each floor. But what's worth going to see, because I believe there's only 2 in Charleston, this is one you can see, is a free-flying or floating staircase. It ascends spirally.
Like Boone Hall Plantation.
3 stories tall with no visible means of support. Now, Boone Hall's just got that one that goes up and comes back to a kind of a curve. Now, this thing spirals 3 stories tall. It's built on a cantilever-style system where each step's... The walls were donated to the Confederacy. They fell down during the war to use cannonballs. They were never replaced. 1886, this park turned into a big
yellow night heron, right?
Yeah, have you heard about that thing?
We were in here last night. They're shitting all over us.
That's right. Were they? Serious? Because I gave a tour to a woman
They're
who's
nesting
over on
everything in
King Street, where the display's going to be for
Yeah.
Stiletto, and she said that
Yeah, I've heard that.
all right, well, this is cobblestone. This was brought over in the hulls of the ships to weight them down on the
Ballast.
high seas, ballast. When they got to Charleston, they would unload it, pick up things like rice, indigo, cotton, lumber. They wanted to put the stone to practical use, so they paved a lot of the streets with it. If you go down here, about 2 blocks on the left, there's a place called the Old Slave Mart Museum. Biggest building in Charleston at the time. They knew what a monumentous event it was going to be, so that's where it's island. Back out on the way to Seabrook and Kiowa in that area, you'll see signs to the angel oak tree. That one's about 150 years old. They date the angel oak to be about 1,500 years old. The paper said today about 1,400 years old, but you know how papers do.
Out in Boone's
But that's the oldest living thing east of the Mississippi. It's called the angel oak, and the limbs go down, touch the ground, come back up. I've heard that if you find to hold gunpowder and ammunition. Now, the walls of this baby are about 3 feet thick. It hopes if that stuff ever blew up, the explosion would go up instead of out. The roof's pretty thick, too. It's about 1 foot thick, and it's filled full of sand. Hopes that if a cannonball ever landed and went through the roof, started a fire, the sand would sift through the hole and put the fire out. Now, if you look up here, this is St. Philip's Episcopal Church. This is Charleston's oldest congregation, founded the year when the 3 ships came over in 1670. If you look at that little gold cross up on top, that little gold cross is about 7 feet tall. If that gives you an idea how big this is.
Huge.
We're going to turn left here. As we do, look back on the church. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a graveyard on the church side and a graveyard across the street. Now, if you're born and raised in Charleston, you get buried on the church side. If not, the stranger's side. Now, John C. Calhoun, never heard of him?
Yep.
Very prominent.
A horse. This is Michelle paying a guy off. Oh, Michelle's over there. This is Dusty.
Hello, Sissy. Hello. How you doing? I have nothing for you, baby. I have nothing. No, I don't. No, I don't. This is a horseback riding now. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. You ever had a nibble on you?
You know.
This is just like velvet. It's like velvet? Goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Get your head alongside of him. You gotta give him a smooch. Michelle's the same bathroom.
Hazy day on the beach on Friday. Justin feeding the pelicans. I lied. The seagulls. Some bread. We have one has a major itch here. Oh, hi. Up, gotta get that 1 foot up there. Those are all the townhouses. The rental. There's somebody shelling. Let's zoom in on him, see what he's doing. I just got bit by a Sam's place, and I can't. Holy cow! Look at that stud. Wow. I wish I knew his name. You know, sad thing is he's probably married. Too bad he wouldn't bend over a little more. I almost see his crack. Up! We're up. I bet you he's looking for shark's teeth. Beats being to the office. Oh, we might have hit a major find here. No, false alarm. Got the knees dirty. We'll check back with him a little bit later, see what he's found. Gotta keep this camera away from him so he doesn't find any major babes here on the beach. This poor little guy, oh, he's taking a nap. Taking a little break there from everyday life. We'll check in with you later.
Michelle, do you want to narrate? You do it so well.
No, you're doing great, though.
This is a working trawler that's going past the townhouse. And this is all the birds that are just chowing out. See, the beach has disappeared at high tide. sick and tired of these pelicans by now. But they're kind of neat. You saw me and my beachcombing efforts. Whoa! I just found a whole shitload of shells. But I may as well show you the results. I have to zoom back here. These are all shark's teeth. You have to go my effort. And Michelle recognized as one shell, so I had to collect as many of them as I could. And these are called, what are they called, dear?
Shark's eyes.
Shark's eyes, not snake eyes. Again, for bringing the pelicans back in the picture, but...
Right here in front of us. You did a major dive.
Well, it was too late. There must be about, 30 pelicans. Oh.
Yeah, you can. Are you doing it?
Come on up.
I wonder if it's just beginning. They miss the water and hit the sand. Oh, mid-air collision. Boom. We're down.
They're hunting for schools of fish, still.
Have you been zooming in on them, Bill?
Yeah, no, I'm zoomed all the way in. That's a landing. This is fascinating, huh, audience? Cool, I got you.
He's up on Bill right now. He's sleeping on the couch, as you can see over there. I am in the process of going over and turning down TV because you're throwing up a storm. Oh my God, it's gonna be a hurricane down here.
Policies taking effect this summer. There'll be a number of significant changes to look for.
He's waking up.
Here's Peggy. With new corporate policies taking effect this summer, there'll be a number of significant changes to look for. Here's Peggy to tell us what we might expect. Patty? Or Peggy? There's a lot more surprises coming up, so stay right there until we get back.
With Michael Jordan and a joke on Anne-Marie Johnson.
When you've got something precious to carry, this is one way to do it. Here's another. Chevy Lumina Euro Sedan. Engineered with four-wheel independent suspension and standard anti-lock brakes.
That's my baby.
It's one way to help make sure your precious cargo
Don't straight
is
out.
delivered safely. Chevrolet. The cars more people depend on. And now it's easy to win with the
I'm gonna
heart.
turn down the TV now, see if I can get him smiling.
That must be the pizza.
What happens when you add 25% more meat toppings to a Pizza Hut Meat Lovers pizza?
You've taken a rather large piece out of it.
No, he's not going to snore for us. Telephone.
Here's Darla on the deck, and here's Michelle. They're slowly getting trashed. As am I.
Crotch shot.
Well. Going up the outer bank, watching the gulls in the back of the ferry. Oh, but they're feeding their face. To the goal. Still feeding their face. About 5 feet from here. There's our Mike Sikansky. The icing off.
Seagulls don't like icing.
It fills the whole frame from 20 feet ahead. Caracas Lighthouse. You can get up on top if you got the guts. She's gonna climb all the way to the top.
Listen to the kids.
Michelle just chickened out.
because I don't want to pay the $3 to get in.
John, don't go too far.
Plus, it's full of kids. Squirt guns on it. And it's against the law to touch or feed or whatever. You must stay away from the horses.
No, Patrick, they're not for you. They're not.
Pictures of the road on the Outer Banks. This island's a wild horse sanctuary. That's the word. Thank you, dear. There are sand dunes and things. Yes, there's the sand dunes, and there's Michelle's head. And she's putting the window down so we can look through there. The Dune trilogy. There's the Dune. Pretty neat, huh? Yeah, I thought you'd like it.
It's neat. It's like drifting the road with snow, except sand.
And the sun's out.
And the sun's out. Life doesn't get any better than this. Well, it did last week.
Yeah, she wasn't indisposed. Well, there's a car. Whoa, was that close?
Where's the horses, Bill?
Here, trigger, trigger, trigger. Here, trigger, trigger, trigger. To be a fairly upscale neighborhood on the islands. Anyone getting sick watching this? Whoa. I'm getting sick taking it. Oh, that was cute there.
Don't look at the bikinis. I don't think there's any on this island.
She thinks it's a tourist lure. But, the Biden, we drove 15 miles down this road. It's a dead-end road up in the islands, so Michelle could see a horse. We didn't see one. She hasn't seen a gator nor a horse.
But I got married.
Me too. She made 2 out of 3. She didn't get 2 out of 3, and I got stuck with 3 out of 3. Best. Shopping. Yep, she's shopping. Yep, here we go. She's shopping some more. Overlooking the bay. The sound right there.
I keep wanting to do the Mike Shikansky move.
There's skimpy underwear in there.
Do they?
Yeah.